Hi, it's Bobbie from Fifth Avenue Cake Designs, and for my last Halloween tutorial, we're going to do some little witches. So let's begin. I've had several requests asking if there was a way to make a doll cookie without a special cookie cutter. If you take a heart and a tulip cutter, you can make the head and the neck and the bottom of her dress, or her whole dress. If you don't have a tulip cutter, a triangle cutter would work just fine. Put the pieces together and cook it in the oven. Now to decorate it, you're going to start with a number 2 nozzle and purple flood consistency royal icing. Begin by piping out your outline and then filling it in. Using a scribe tool, even out your icing and bring that center into place. Once you're satisfied with your center, put it in front of a fan or a dehydrator for about 2 hours. Then go ahead with a number 2 nozzle and black flood consistency icing. Pipe out one side of her cape. When you go to fill in the black portion next to the purple, line it up as close as you possibly can without going over on the purple icing. Use your scribe tool to bring everything into place and to even out your icing. I did go ahead and draw myself a map of how I wanted her outfit to be, but you are more than welcome to freehand it if you're comfortable doing it that way. I used an edible food-safe marker made by Rainbow Dust. Once that side is done, repeat the exact same process on the other side of the cake. Use your scribe tool, even out your icing, and bring out the part of her cake that needs to be sharpened, such as the bottom where that tulip part is, and the sleeves. Be sure to make the black come right up against that purple. Once you're satisfied with the entire cape of your witch, go ahead and put it in front of a fan or in a dehydrator for 2 hours. Then you're going to pipe the chest part of her body, the neck, and the head. Use your scribe tool to even it out. I am using a number 1.5 nozzle and flood consistency icing that is 18 seconds instead of 15 because it is such a small area. Use your scribe tool to even out the icing of her head, to square off the top because you're going to be putting a hat on her, and to make it fit into the neck so you don't have any lines. Once you're satisfied with her head, go ahead and give the cookie a little shake just to settle all the icing down. And we'll pipe in her little hands. All we're going to do is pipe a small teardrop, releasing our pressure, and then coming from the sleeve, pipe a little bit thicker line to meet up with that teardrop. This is just her forearm. Don't put a bend in the arm. Repeat on the other side the exact same way. When you are finished putting in her little hand and forearm, go ahead and put her in front of a fan or in a dehydrator for another 2 hours and then allow her to dry overnight. Now it's time for the hair. Outline a little hairline that almost looks like dog ears. Since we're putting a hat on, we don't want the hair to go over that top of her head. Fill it in like you normally would, and use your scribe tool to even out the icing and to draw up that little curl. Repeat the hairline on the other side the exact same way, outlining it and then filling it in. Now we can give her a little bit of bang by just drawing that royal icing from the top of her head to the top of the hairline, or the little dog ears that we made. And then a smaller one on the other side. Use your scribe tool to even out the icing and to draw that little bang area down further onto her head. Once the hair has dried for about 15 minutes in a dehydrator, you can add in a little bit of texture to her hair by piping with the same consistency icing and a 1.5 nozzle, some curls coming from her hair. While we're waiting for that to crust over, we can draw in her eyes. I'm using a rainbow dust marker. I find it's easier to turn her upside down to do the other eye in order to get an even two sides. Then go ahead with just a little teeny dab and a number 1 nozzle of flood consistency icing, a flesh tone, and pipe a tiny nose. For the mouth, you're just going to pipe a little teeny heart shape almost. And then you're going to use your scribe tool to actually draw out her mouth a little bit and bring up the bow part of her lips. Use your nose as a guide for the center of the bow in her mouth, or the 2 top lips. Now carefully pipe in her hat Even though that area of her hair has crusted over, you can still squash it. I went ahead and drew in a hat, but you can go ahead and freehand one if you want. Outline your hat, and then fill it in so that it meets up with the top of her head. I'm using a number 2 nozzle and flood consistency black icing. Use your scribe tool to bring down the hat to completely meet with the top of the head without going over that hairline, and to really point out the top of that hat. Now let's have fun and add in some of the details of her outfit. With rub down icing and a 1.5 nozzle, now this is stiff rub down icing, go ahead and begin piping a teardrop shape around the top part of the black area where it meets up with the chest area. Repeat on the other side. Once you get to where the purple begins, we're going to add in some cross stitching. So just bring down a line from one side to the other, angling as you go. You'll get a little wider as you get down towards the middle of the dress, the purple part of the dress. Now go ahead and continue your little teardrop trail of royal icing. Cover over the seams of the stitching. And bring that little snail's tail or teardrop all the way to the point of the bottom of the dress. Repeat the exact same piping on the other side. Be sure to wipe your tip a few times so that it doesn't get some extra royal icing in there. And again, just bring it down to that outer point. Now go ahead and do the same little snail's trail or teardrops on the outside of each of her sleeves where her forearm meets, so it appears to be under that part of the cape. Now go ahead and we're going to brush embroider, just adding in some wiggled lines with the exact same rub down stiff consistency icing and our number 1 tip. With a dampened brush, draw in the part of the icing after you've piped it. Do this in sections so the icing doesn't dry and you get that beautiful brush embroider look. and bring it to the tip of the bottom of the dress. Repeat the brush embroidery on the other side. I'm just using a small square brush for this. If you find a section didn't quite brush embroider down, just go over it. And finish at the bottom of your dress or your cape. Let's add a little bow to tie off that stitching, no pun intended. Go ahead and pipe one side of your loop and then the other side. Bring down the tails and add a little swirl at the bottom. And then add a little dot in the center. Now carefully, because your hat is still wet, go ahead and pipe the brim of the hat onto her hat using your #1 nozzle and that stiff rub down consistency icing. Add your buckle in by just bringing down 2 straight lines. And there you have it, our little witches for Halloween. I hope you have an enjoyable Halloween, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.